the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is America. That is strength under fire. I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant. I have to be honest. I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood.
All right, Kamala, you want to do this? You want to get into a crowd measuring contest with us? Well, Donald Trump just came off of what may be, if I'm not mistaken, the largest live interview, the most viewed live interview in world history. And I'm not saying that lightly, right? Currently, as it stands, it's actually still going on. We're wrapping up towards the end here. The Donald Trump, Elon Musk Twitter space currently has 1.2 million live concurrent viewers. So someone can fact check me there. I'm not sure. Maybe there's one that actually beat it. But if I'm not mistaken, yes, literally the most viewed live concurrent interview in the history of the world. And certainly, I would undeniably say, in the history of American politics. And that is big, regardless of whatever the bad faith actors try to say about this. And of course, they will do anything to tear it down, including DDoS and try to hack the live stream, which we'll talk about here in a second, folks. The fact of the matter is this: 1.2 million people live, and probably millions and millions more who are watching on other platforms are going to watch the replay, listen to the message of Donald Trump, and he was sharp, he was articulate. We will get all into that in a second. But first, let's of course address the elephant in the room, because the big cope by the bad faith actors is what? They can't get anything to work. This Twitter space, despite the fact that it had 1.2 million live viewers when it started to work, was a failure. Elon cannot get his platform working correctly. All of these different attacks, and of course that is to be expected. And look, as many of you know, by the way, folks, be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. But yeah, as many of you know, okay, myself included, early on when this Twitter space was starting, nobody could get in, right? It was difficult. There were all these technical issues. And of course, I and many others said, what the heck is wrong with Twitter? Why can they not get this platform working? However, a couple minutes in, Elon Musk did announce that, quote, there appears to be a massive DDoS attack on X. And for people who don't know what that is, that's basically a hacking attack when you try to overload a website with too much data so that way it crashes, right? So someone out there, reportedly, according to Elon Musk, who was trying to shut down this interview, trying to harass Trump, trying to make it sure that he was not able to be heard. And you did see, who knows where this came from, but even governmental agencies in the EU were out there today saying they do not want this interview to happen. They were requesting that Elon Musk censor it, right? So he went on to say, working on shutting it down. Worst case, we will proceed with a small number of live listeners and post the conversation later. Now, of course, some people may say, well, Elon, you're just using that as an excuse because your platform doesn't work and you suck and Trump sucks and all this stuff. And it's like, look, okay, there's going to be bad faith actors in regards to everything. Can you really change their mind? Not necessarily. But Elon does point out here that, quote, we tested the system with 8 million concurrent listeners earlier today, and it was fine, right? So they built Twitter to be ready for this, and in terms of just the raw amount of live listeners. And so that way the argument here is, folks, well, we got hacked. I mean, how are we supposed to predict that? Now, of course, people are at liberty to still say, that's cope, that's a lie. You're just saying that because you couldn't get your technical issue sorted out. I mean, whatever it is, but here is what I will point out. First of all, the idea that Trump's big historic interview, again, the largest in world history, would be attacked by some type of opponent, whether that is domestic or foreign, is, in my opinion, completely plausible, right? And then, of course, when we look at recent headlines, I mean, we know what happened, of course, in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th, 2024. But even beyond that, you have seen in the past couple of weeks, apparently the Trump campaign was hacked. You may have seen that headline a couple of days ago, and Politico was receiving the hacked emails since July 22nd. So for over 2 weeks, someone's been hacking the Trump campaign. They were leaking these dossiers and stuff to the press. And then on top of that, just today, we got the news that on Sunday night, someone tried to burglarize, right? Someone, as you see here, broke into the Trump campaign HQ in Loudoun County, Virginia. And what were they stealing? What were they there to do? I'm not exactly sure. Okay. It's completely fair to speculate. Who knows? Maybe this is some type of Watergate 2.0 situation going on. But the point, folks, is this. all the incidents you have seen, and of course, Butler, PA is the biggest example, but there are many others. The idea that enemies of Donald Trump would go to these means to try to shut down his ability to speak, not exactly out of left field. Okay, I will say that. But regardless, however you want to cope about this, I mean, we also had, some audio issues. Some people said it sounded like Trump had a lisp. Other people said their audio was fine. That has to do with audio compression. Whatever you want to say about it, whatever the Kamala Harris bad faith actors want to say, the overall point, once again, I will come back to is this: 1.2 million live concurrent people and millions more after the fact just listen to Donald Trump speak live. And on that point, he was sharp, he was articulate, and he hammered home, especially early on in this interview, all of the right issues. You may have heard they opened up starting about the Trump assassination attempt, so Trump got sort of another chance to tell that story. But then even after that fact, very first issue they drilled home was immigration, the border, that one thing that Kamala Harris does not want people talking about. And here we go. Once again, 1 million people heard Donald Trump absolutely tearing into Kamala over this issue. Take a listen.
These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job on the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had, I believe, and I think you believe this too, you hear 12 million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country, many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is insane asylums. And many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries that are stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you look at, it's so sad, October 7th, because it should have never happened. It's so sad when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they won't do anything. It's all talk. She's incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something, because he's not too good.
Then, of course, he also made some strong points on the economy. He said he would be open to having Elon Musk fix the national debt, all this different stuff. I mean, you can listen to it for yourself. We may talk about more of the substance of the interview later on, maybe in a future video. But the point here, once again, is this, okay? While Kamala Harris, first of all, claims that Trump isn't campaigning, even though, he did kind of take a week break, sort of. He still did a rally last week, but he's doing more rallies in swing states this week, whatever. As much as you want to say that, the fact of the matter is this: Kamala Harris has now been the Democrat candidate for over 3 weeks, and she still has not done, folks, a single TV interview, even with the left-wing press, right? Not even like a sit-down, cozy interview where they're asking her about coconut trees. She will not sit down and talk to anyone. What is the reason for that? Because frankly, folks, she is scared, and it has more to do than just her likability, like she's going to come off weird. I think the fact of the matter is Kamala Harris is terrified. You see her currently flip-flopping on every major issue. 2020, she was this far left radical, and then now 2024, she's saying the opposite of all the things she said 4 years ago. She knows fundamentally that simply one question from a journalist asking, hey, why did you say this back then, but now you're saying this, could end her campaign, and that's why she's scared.
You become president, would you be committing to close immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump is not scared. And once again, 1.2 million live viewers. I'm going to hammer that home because Kamala, get absolutely mogged. That said, folks, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. If you listened to the Trump-Elon Twitter space, what was your favorite moment? Be sure to leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you are new. Follow me on X and all of my social medias. Link in the description. And until next time, God bless and peace.